Welcome everybody. I'm here with Sebastian Nerdig in the Berkeley AI Research Lab, and we're going to be talking today about the Dharmamitra project. There's been a website at dharmamitra.org for some time, and I believe there's some changes coming up soon. But for those, first of all, for those who aren't familiar with the project as it is at the moment, could you say a little bit about what it does at the moment?
Sure, yeah, thank you for that, Zorg. So Dharmamitra is currently providing machine translation at dharmamitra.org. We also have advanced grammatical explanations with a special engine for Sanskrit that provides the word segmentation, lemmatization, and then the grammatical breakdown. And we also have OCR since a couple of weeks, which has become extremely popular. If you go to dharmamitra.org, you can use these different tools. We also have a Chrome and a Firefox browser extension. So if you want to use it while reading PDFs or websites like BDRC or other sites, you can just use our plugin and it works on any website. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so what does the OCR do?
The OCR is especially geared towards providing high quality OCR of classical Asian languages like Sanskrit, Tibetan, and so on. So you can take PDFs, screenshots, pictures, and so on, go to our website and upload them in the OCR system, and then it will give you a high quality text version of that. And actually we support quite large files. So if you want to give it a 50 or 100 megabyte, up to 100 megabyte PDF, that's no problem. We can do hundreds of pages. So if you have 300, 400, 500 pages, that's no problem for Dharmamitra. Yeah.
Wow. That sounds like a great service.
Yeah.
And so the new features, I believe they're about to be released. What's coming up next?
Yeah, so that's a lot that we are going to add to the Dharmamitra capabilities. And these are things that we have been working on for at least a year. I think it even goes back to 2 years ago, some of the parts that we are doing. So on the one hand, there's the Mitra Search system, which will provide both precise string-based search, but also semantic search, which enables the users to create queries based on the meaning of a passage and then retrieve results that are similar in the meaning. So we can then ask questions, for example, even in English, like what is the definition of Chetana? And we will get passages that answer this question in Sanskrit, Tibetan, Pali, or Chinese. So that is the ability of the Mitra Search system. And also it is able to search across languages, so you can have a passage in Tibetan and find the matching Sanskrit sentences to that passage. So we provide that. We also have a lot of filter options, so you can narrow down the results to only results from the Bhagavad Gita, for example, or to the Mahabharata. So that is possible. So this Mitra Search system has been something we already started to develop and to work on at least 1 year ago. And there have been lots of iterations on this. And I'm extremely excited that we are finally able to make this available to an audience, to a large public audience. Yeah.
Fantastic. And so each person will be able to filter results across specific languages, time periods, or types of literature. Is that right?
Exactly. So we provide filtering based on the language, based on the collection. So, for example, the Vedic literature or Buddhist literature. And then we can go down further and further and even filter based on Buddhist Madhyamika literature or Yogacara literature, and even down to individual texts. So if you want to only look for a certain passage in the works of Vasubandhu, for example, you can do that on our system. When it comes to time periods, this is currently not yet implemented, but it's something that we are working on very actively. So that's more on the research and development frontier, but certainly something in the longer future of Dharmamitra where we will be looking into. Yes.
Fantastic. And then I've heard these Dharmamitra term and then also DharmaNexus.
Exactly.
So how are those different?
Yeah, so in order to make a search system like Mitra Search viable, we need to have a textual database that hosts all of this data. And DharmaNexus is exactly that home of the large database of the Mitra project. So it includes data both from the Tibetan Kangyo and Tengyo at the moment. We also have the Chadra Dharma cloud data for the Tibetan. Then we have the Pali canon and the Atthakathas or the commentaries. So this is data from the Vipassana Research Institute that we have inherited here. Then we have a large Sanskrit data collection that compiles different well-known sources like Gretil, the Digital Sanskrit Buddhist Canon, and Mukta Bodha, and of course our own efforts at Mitra to OCR and integrate material. Yeah, and for Chinese, we're using the Cebeta data set for the Taisho. So yeah, that's our backbone for the actual grounding in the real-world textual data. And yeah, it has grown out of the DharmaNexus project, which was previously at Hamburg University, and that was another big leg of my own research in the past, the DharmaNexus system, which was very much geared towards aiding philologists in creating critical editions and finding related passages across primary sources. And it brings me immense joy to bring these two strings together now, where we have the Mitra system, which addresses a broad public on providing translation, and the very specific detailed capabilities of DharmaNexus in one platform. So you can start with a broad entry and then go really down and go into the very, very deep details of the relationship between individual texts. And one very important tool to make that possible is the new Mitra Deep Research mode, where we combine machine translation with the Mitra Search lookup capabilities into the DharmaNexus database. So you can paste a passage, and then the system will look up related passages from our database and include them in the translation output. So we will not just translate, but we will also give references to parallel passages. When it's a Sanskrit sentence, we will find parallel passages if they exist in Chinese, in Tibetan, in Pali, and in that way, you don't just get a translation, but you get references into the DharmaNexus system, where you can then click on the links and explore the textual context of the text that you are working on.
That sounds fantastic. So what sort of, like, how many texts are we talking about in these different languages, and sort of what percentage of what might be available potentially is currently there?
Yeah, so we are starting with a rather highly curated data set. So when it comes to Sanskrit, we try to collect as much as possible. We're currently at 1,700 texts roughly in the database. And we hope to expand this, but there's just only so much high quality Sanskrit data digitized out there. Yeah? And in order to expand significantly, we would need to work on better OCR software, which is actually a big research leg of the Mitra project, is to push the OCR capabilities for Sanskrit and Tibetan. And we hope to make improvements on that end. When it comes to Tibetan, we are currently confined to high quality data of the Kangyo, the Tengyo, and the Dharma cloud. But here also we have a roadmap worked out with the Chadra Foundation to expand this to include more Nyingma material and the Rinchen Terzo as well. And then, of course, we have a strategic data partnership with the BDRC, where we, over the next couple of years...
What does that stand for?
BDRC, the Buddhist Digital Resource Center. Uh-huh. And we have a collaboration that will probably last for many years to come on creating large searchable data sets that are accessible to AI systems like Dharmamitra. So that is something we are very, very excited about. And yeah, for Chinese and Pali, we are working with the canonical data sets. And that's our first station, so to say. But yes, expanding is something that is certainly one of the major goals over the coming years. Yeah.
That sounds great. So do you see these tools as fundamentally changing the way that researchers work in the fields of Indology and Buddhist studies or Asian languages?
So I think it's not, DharmaMitra did not set out with the goal to change the way how people do research. I think we are very much the other way around. We look at how people are doing research, and then we think, what can we do to just reduce the friction points one by one? And that's how we worked on machine translation. We looked at how people translate, and then we provided a service that gave draft translations that people could then use to get quicker to a first interpretation of a sentence. And that is one of the first feedbacks that we got back then was, well, this is is not going to replace me as a translator. But if I have a text that I'm not familiar with, I can just paste it into Dharmamitra and I get a rough idea of what the text is about. And then I can work my way backwards from there. And this was extremely encouraging for us to really look from the user perspective and work our way from there to come up with tools and solutions. And the grammatical engine is very much a result of that, as well as OCR. Like we got many, many requests of people who wanted to just have a simple working OCR solution. And then we decided to provide that on our platform. And Mitra Search is very much in that line, that we really try to come from what is a pain point of the user, where do they get stuck, and then how can we make that journey possible that they have an easier way into the actual text.
Yeah. So how many visitors per day roughly do you have now? And do you have a sense of where they're coming from? And
So I think currently we have about 1,300 daily unique visitors on our website. Of course, not all of these are hardworking translators and philologists, of course, but those people who really enter multiple translations into our tools, these are between 350 and 400 users every day.
Wow.
And this is per day. So, and not all of us are translating every day. I think that's obviously, there might be a few power users who really need these tools every day, but I think the average user is more likely to use it maybe once or twice or 3 times a week for like focus sessions. So we can assume that these 300 to 400 visitors a day might be representative of a regular user base around 1,000 users. I think that is probably a safe bet. So yeah, and we are processing about 3,000 translation requests a day. So that's what we are really getting at our tools, and we are doing between 100 and 300 individual files of OCR every day. So these are between 10 and 15,000 pages of material that our OCR system is processing every day. So the demand is really huge, and our user base is actually surprisingly diverse. So we do have, of course, a strong footing in the North American academia and translation scene, but we also have a lot of users from Europe. We have a lot of users from South Asia and East Asia, so Japan, Taiwan, China, and India, of course. So yeah, I think there's really not one central hub for Mitra. It's a very, very grassroots and diverse user base that we have. And that also reflects in the feedback that we get. So there are emails coming in almost every day of people who have questions, who have suggestions on what to add next. And it's not like they are all coming from one place. They come from all over the world. And it's really just shows us that people all over the world have need for such tools.
Yeah. Well, that's terrific. It sounds like this is really providing something that's going to benefit many, many people. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.